Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Laura Prada from the Telesur Studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. You stay with us. And we begin in Venezuela because the Bolivarian government deployed a contingency plan to progressively recover the national electrical system after an electromagnetic attack caused power outage in at least 16 of the 24 states of the country. Efforts made to reestablish the hydroelectric generation system by the Venezuelan government together with the workers of the National Electrical Corporation have returned the connectivity and the national electrical services in less time possible to the entire country. Reconnections were reported in the majority of the western, central, and eastern states affected by this new failure of electromagnetic character. Work and educational activities for this Tuesday have been suspended. And Venezuela reported an interruption to the electricity supply that has affected the country. First was felt at 4:45 p.m. local time. Preliminary indications then received from early investigation say that an electromagnetic attack was the cause of this sabotage. We would have to show you now the sound that the Communication Minister Jorge Rodriguez said when he explained what happened this Monday.
El gobierno bolivariano de Venezuela informa a todo el pueblo.
The Bolivarian government of Venezuela informs that today at 4:45 p.m. there was a national power outage. The first-hand information received for our investigation in Bajo Caroni have showed an electromagnetic attack aimed at the hydroelectric generator system of Guyana, the country's main electric power provider. Fortunately, following the recent attack on the power system during the month of March and April 2019, the government has implemented different protocols which allow us to confirm that we are working on reestablishing the electric connections nationwide. We have also activated through different ministries and institutions the mechanisms to provide portable water, public transportation, and health services. We have deployed security forces to guarantee the safety and peace of our population. The people responsible for this attack will be defeated again. They will experience the courage and nerve of the son and daughter of our liberator, Simón Bolívar. We will defeat them. Venceremos.
And following this announcement made by the Communication Minister, President Nicolas Maduro took to Twitter to comment on the incident. He wrote, "Before the new criminal attack against the tranquility and peace of the homeland, the Bolivarian government and the Bolivarian armed forces are deployed meeting the needs of the people. The sons and daughters of Bolívar will once again demonstrate our unwavering will that we shall overcome." And as the country slowly recovers electric supply and those states affected are lit up, our correspondent in Caracas, Leonel Retamal, updates us. How has the country been recovering from this power outage? Welcome, Leonel. Tell us.
We are driving through Caracas to monitor the situation after a blackout plunged Caracas and other cities across the country into darkness. The Venezuelan government says that electromagnetic attacks is behind the power outage. Similar to the one in April, we can see that electricity is slowly being restored in this street how the popular west side of the city. But lights are already shining in the other parts of the city as well. People are reporting across various social media platforms that power is being restored in their neighborhoods as well. Authorities continued working on the resolving the issue. It's also important to highlight that Venezuelans have been highlighting the situation calmly. Many people have managed, organized transport and help other citizens to get home safely. Public transport, especially buses, are also trying to meet the crisis demand. Hospitals are functioning according to the contingency plan with the help of generators. We will continue bring you the latest updates of the situation for the street.
Thank you, Lionel. And now we have also other details because the Venezuela Minister of Communication, Jorge Rodriguez, also provided this Monday details of how a U.S. spy plane was intercepted by Venezuelan fighter jets when it violated the country's airspace on Friday, July 19th. Jorge Rodriguez demonstrated footage from one of the Venezuelan jets which clearly shows how U.S. planes flew into Venezuela's sovereign airspace. The plane was detected by the nation's airspace defense system, and Minister Rodriguez confirmed that it was flying without any sort of legal authorization.
At this very moment, the same airplane, or a similar one, known as the EP-30 aircraft, is once again invading our airspace near Maiquetía. At this very moment, how could any Venezuelan justify such actions? Nonetheless, we have seen the far right do this, providing justifications as for why a U.S. spy plane is illegally entering Venezuelan airspace, endangering flight paths in the region as well as our sovereignty.
Minister Rodriguez also added that over the past few months, there have been dozens of U.S. spy planes illegally entering Venezuelan airspace.
Over the past 3 months, there's been a total of 78 violations of Venezuelan airspace by U.S. airplanes. And after the circus started by Juan Guaidó back in January, these instances have skyrocketed. In February, when the empire's threats were at their most aggressive, as they wanted to send paramilitaries through the Colombian border, the violations of our airspace increased by 167%, and they have continued to increase over the past months.
And now we move on to the Caribbean because Puerto Ricans continue demanding Governor Ricardo Rossello's resignation. This Monday, thousands of Puerto Ricans took to the streets once again in the 10th day of protest against Rossello's government. Many different union and social organizations called the citizens to demonstrate in the middle of a national strike. On Sunday, Governor Ricardo Rossello submitted the popular pressure and announced he will not dispute re-election in 2020. At the same time, he resigned to the presidency of the new Progressive Party. New strikes are called in Puerto Rico. New manifestations are expected in the following days. Also, the Puerto Rican independence fighter, Oscar Lopez Rivera, was part of this strike today, this Monday in Puerto Rico, and from there he sent these words.
We are here at the march, which is very unique in our history. This is something very simple. The people of Puerto Rico, almost all of the people, are demanding the complete resignation of the governor. A person who has a mindset completely full of greed, without any dignity or respect, and who should never be in the position where he is, to decide on the future of Puerto Rico. It is sad for our people, but one of the most precious things is that this people is showing the potential it has and the indignation with its fields. With much love, we see a Puerto Rico which is rising up.
Time for a first break. Remember, you can find us on Twitter at Telesur English and at Laura Peterster. You stay with us. Back with the news, a high-ranking Iranian delegation led by the country's foreign minister has arrived to Nicaragua, to Managua, for an official state visit. The minister, Mohammad Javad Zarif, is expected to hold cooperation talks with the Nicaraguans of senior officials. This is the latest stop in the minister's Latin American tour after he visited this week Venezuela to attend to the ministerial meeting of the non-aligned movement. After Nicaragua, Javad Zarif will visit Bolivia.
I thank the government and President Daniel Ortega very much for this program that has been vital for our trip. Tomorrow we will talk about different topics and aspects ranging from agriculture to cutting-edge technology to continue our relationships.
And Prime Minister of Haiti, Jean-Michel Lapin, has resigned after failing to form government. Lapin said he had sent his resignation to President Jovenel Moïse and that he had made the decision for Haiti. Since he was appointed in March, Lapin has been unable to get his political program passed by the Senate. President Moïse has already begun consulting with leaders of the upper and lower houses on a replacement. And now we move on to African news, because at the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Minister of Health has resigned after being replaced as the head of response to the Ebola epidemic. His replacement was ordered by President Felix Tshisekedi, something which did not go well with the minister. In his resignation letter, he denounced the creation of a parallel system to respond to the epidemic, saying it hampered efforts to contain the virus. He also blamed some humanitarian organizations for allegedly concealing vital information. And South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa is now relying on the courts to clear his name after the public protector found that he violated the Constitution. These findings relate to an election campaign donation he received before he became President of the Republic. Our correspondent in Pretoria, Madua Malaji, has the details for us on the following story.
The gloves are off and it's a battle between the president and the public protector. At the center of the standoff is a $36,000 election campaign donation made by a controversial company doing business with government and the president's son. The public protector believes there's also merit to investigate money laundering, but President Ramaphosa disagrees.
After careful study, I have concluded that the report is fundamentally and irretrievably flawed. This is strongly confirmed by my legal representatives, who have equally studied the Public Protector's report very thoroughly. I have therefore decided to seek an urgent judicial review of the Public Protector's report, its findings, and its remedial action. I have instructed my legal representatives to prepare an application to this effect as a matter of urgency.
The Office of the Public Protector reacted with a statement welcoming the president's court bid to have findings against him under judicial review. Opposition parties have also reacted to the president's move. The main opposition party, which laid the complaint with the public protector, says Ramaphosa must foot the legal bill and not use the public purse. Another opposition party, the Economic Freedom Fighter, has called on the president to take leave until his name is cleared by the courts. President Cyril Ramaphosa will rely on the courts to redeem the image of his office. The court's findings will be crucial for the public protector herself because she already has a few of her reports sent to the courts for scrutiny, testing her ability to occupy the office. I'm Matiwa Mahlachi for Telesur in Pretoria.
And we continue in South Africa because the ruling African National Congress has said it will allow the country's legal system to deal with the row between President Ramaphosa and the Public Prosecutor's Office.
I don't think that we would want to enter the space at this point now. Let us allow the president to deal with these issues in the manner that he has elected to. When all of these things are done, and if there is a need for the ANC to come out and pronounce itself, the organization shall, at that point, do so. So that we don't conflate issues here. There is a public protector's report, the President of the Republic has already spoken to the nation, who's also the president of the ANC, has spoken to the nation on the sort of steps that he is undertaking. And part of those steps include a judicial review.
And gang violence continues to claim lives of the South African city of Cape Town despite the deployment of the military to clamp down the violence. According to the National Police, 24 people, including a police officer, was killed by gangs over the weekend. The military was recently deployed to work alongside the National Police in the fight against gangs. Terms wars between gun-toting gangs in impoverished areas of the city has killed about 1,000 people since the start of the year 2019. Now we move on to Somalia, where at least 17 people have been killed and another 30 were injured during a bomb blast in the capital, Mogadishu. The blast went off at the first checkpoint of the road that leads to the Mogadishu airport. The Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack. Al-Shabaab, this terrorist group, committed another bomb attack, killing 26 people in southern Somalia last week. The struggle to contain conflict over control of the country have been ongoing since the overthrow of President Said Barre in 1991. And in Nigeria, one person was killed when police clashed with Shiite Muslim protesters in Abuja, the capital. Several others were also wounded in the clashes and a number of cars were set on fire. According to authorities, police fired at protesters because they were turning violent. Shiite Muslims have regularly taken to the streets of Abuja in the last few years, calling for the release of their leader, Ibrahim Zakzaki, who has been in detention since 2015.
We come out to protest, allow him go for medication. They just opened fire on us. On reaching Secretariat, we started the protest peacefully from Nitel Junction on top towards Ahmadu Bello way. On arrival at the Secretariat, they started shooting with live ammunition on us.
Time for a second and very short break. You stay tuned with us.
Discover the cultural diversity that defines a continent. The place where art and tradition are part of the same nucleus. Artistic expressions, values, and more. Real life. Fridays, only on the Sur.
Back with the news. Iran has released footage of the 23-member crew of the British oil tanker it seized last Friday in the Strait of Hormuz. The Stena Impero hit a fishing vessel and was taken to an Iranian port in accordance with international maritime regulations, according to the Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif. Iran contrasted this with the UK's move to capture an Iranian vessel off the coast of Gibraltar, which the foreign minister called piracy. He added that UK must end its role as an accomplice in the United States' economic terrorism against Iran. And China has condemned ongoing protests in Hong Kong, saying they are testing the limits of one country, two systems. The Chinese Foreign Ministry condemned the behavior of protesters, which it said had become exceedingly radical. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam also condemned recent protests, calling them a challenge to national sovereignty. The comments come after protesters surrounded China's main representative office in Hong Kong on Sunday and defaced the building.
I just want to say that some radical protesters' behavior tested the limits of one country, two systems, and we cannot tolerate that. We firmly support the Special Administrative Region government in taking all necessary measures to ensure the safety of the station to central agencies, that the rule of law is upheld and those criminals are punished. And here I want to reiterate that we firmly oppose any external interference in Hong Kong's internal affairs, and we oppose any wanton remarks on Hong Kong internal affairs.
Israeli forces have turned down Palestinian houses for being too close to a segregation wall in the village of Sur Baher. Palestinians protested after homes were demolished by hundreds of soldiers and accompanied by bulldozers at dawn. 16 residential buildings have been targeted, holding around 100 apartments. Israel has proceeded with the demolition despite international criticism after the Israeli Supreme Court agreed with the military that the buildings pose a security risk. Palestinians argue that the move is part of Israeli colonial policy in order to build more illegal settlements on the Palestinian land. The decision sets a dangerous precedent for other Palestinian villages in the occupied West Bank.
The occupation forces came this morning and began demolishing around 16 buildings, houses and homes in Wadi Hummus, in the village of Sur Baher, southeast of Jerusalem. The cabinet condemns this grave aggression. This is a continuation of the forced displacement of the people of Jerusalem from their homes and lands. This is a war crime and a crime against humanity.
And Philippine president has urged lawmakers to reinstate the death penalty for heinous crimes related to illegal drugs. Rodrigo Duterte warned that the government's fight against illegal drugs will continue to be harsh in the remaining 3 years in office. He made a request after recalling 2 tons of illegal drugs and graft money were found after the 5-month battle in Marawi City. The death penalty was abolished in the Philippines in 2006, but in 2017 the House passed its version of the death penalty bill, focusing only on drugs-related offenses, however failed to pass in the Congress.
I am aware that we still have a long way to go in our fight against this social menace. Let the reason why I advocate the imposition of the death penalty for crimes related to illegal drugs. The West Philippines Sea is ours. There is no ifs and buts. It is ours. But we have been acting along that legal truth and line. But we have to temper it with the times and the realities that we face today.
U.S. government's onslaught on Chinese technology giant Huawei has put hundreds of workers at the risk of losing their jobs. U.S.-based research division of Huawei Futureway Technologies is set to retrench about 70% of its 850 workforce. In May, President Donald Trump signed an executive order banning U.S. companies from doing business with Huawei. U.S. claims how Huawei's equipment possesses a threat to its national security. However, they have not produced any evidence to support this claim. Like this, we come to the end of this reprieve. Remember, you can find this and much more other information on our website, treasurenglish.net, where you can find and read opinion articles, watch special interviews, and find so much more material and going on information. Continue with us with Telesur, always together, connecting the global thoughts. Until next time, thank you for watching.